Welcome back to Getting Real. Today's conversation is part of a very special 20-week series I'm in the middle of sharing with you. Powerful, honest, behind the scenes interviews from the Seven Figure Lifestyle Summit. Now, here's what you need to know up front. This is not a live summit. It already happened, and these conversations were too important to disappear. So, for 20 weeks, I'm releasing them one by one so you can listen, reflect, and apply what it actually takes to build wealth without burning yourself out in the process. This episode is for you if you're successful on paper but tired in your body. You're building big things and quietly wondering, why does this still feel so hard? You want wealth, yes, but also energy, health, peace, and ease. You're done with white knuckling your way to the next level. In this conversation, you'll hear from Cindy Costley, an energetic wealth strategist who works with high achieving women whose bodies are carrying more stress than their minds realize. We'll talk about how stress and trauma get stored in the body, why symptoms are often your body's last attempt to get your attention, what it really takes to create a seven-figure lifestyle, not just a seven-figure business. If you've ever thought, I should be happier than I am, why does my body keep breaking down? Or I don't want to succeed at the cost of myself, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Lifestyle Summit, where we are exploring the inner and outer work of building a life rich in wealth, vitality, purpose, and ease. And I am so excited to introduce someone whose work is completely revolutionizing how high achieving women experience success from the inside out. Cindy Costley is an energetic wealth strategist and the creator of the electromagnetic body desensitization technique, EBDT, which is a powerful method that helps leaders release long-held stress patterns stored in the body so they can access higher levels of energy, alignment, and impact. And we all need and want that. So she's the founder of the Underlying Answers, and her framework addresses 6 key frequencies: spiritual, energetic, mental, emotional, physical, and behavioral, to help women achieve sustainable success without burnout, which is me. Cindy, welcome. I'm so honored to have you here.
Thank you so much, Monick. It's really great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak.
Amazing. I appreciate you. Your personal healing journey is so powerful. Can you share how your own experience with this regulation led you to discover this work and create the electromagnetic body desensitization technique?
No, it's a lot. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
EBTT.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would love to. So I'm going to take us back briefly to when I was 15 years old, and I suddenly became allergic to the whole world. And I mean everything, all animal life, most chemicals, most foods, most plant life. And my parents took me everywhere. We did all the Western, the Eastern, and I struggled through that for 34 years. One allergic reaction after another, just and very severe rashes all over my body. So severe allergic reactions. And I ended up normalizing it. And during that time, I got married, raised kids, got a degree, built a business. So I still pushed through. And then all of a sudden at age 48, my body said, I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. And it started to shut down. And I knew, basically my husband and I, we'd gone water skiing with the family up to a new lake that I'd never been to. And within 2 hours, I was rushed to the hospital. And after that, my body never recovered from that allergic reaction. It had enough. It was exhausted. My liver and kidneys were shutting down. The doctors were saying, let's keep you comfortable. And I told my husband, I said, my soul wants to dance, and it's going to dance either on this earth or somewhere else. And I had just spent 10 years building a brand new business, getting out of corporate America and building my own business. And I was overworking and doing all the things that we as women do to build our businesses. So proud of what I had built, all to have to let it all go so that I could survive and live.
Yeah.
And so within about a year and a half, I walked away from everything and said, I've got to do this right. And I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew the one thing that was missing was the spiritual aspect. So I hired a spiritual healer, trainer, whatever you want to call her, coach. And that was the thing that I did different after all those years. And at the same time, I hired a functional doctor. And he said to me, "You need to start desensitization immediately." And I had never heard of it, didn't know what it was. And I had tried everything, Western and Eastern. I had tried it all for, like I said, over 34 years. And as I started desensitization, I realized through the process that my body was, I was not having allergic reactions. My body was screaming at me all this time to heal because I had very severe sexual trauma as a child. And
Oh.
at age 15 was the last time something happened to me. And that was shortly after when I became allergic to everything. And I never once, ever connected the two because I was joyful and happy, but my body physically was screaming at me to heal.
So what exactly is desensitization? You said you hadn't heard of it before. I'm going to define that term for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so at the time I did a process called NAET, and basically they take a certain time in your life and they will use a machine and basically put the imprint, the electromagnetic imprint of it in your body. So it's not, you're not ingesting anything. It's just using the vial, which it's a homeopathic vial, and it could be emotions, it could be different stressors, it could be hormones, it could be methylation pathways, whatever it was they needed to heal. And they slowly, one step at a time, desensitized my body to all my traumas.
Mhm.
And it turned out that basically my body had said, "I'm going to keep you safe so that nothing ever happens to you again by keeping you away from the world." That's the way it would described it. And literally just kept me as a girl in a bubble. And everything that had been in my surroundings during my traumas had become a threat to my mind. So my body said everything I could smell, see, hear, touch, feel, what like anything in my digestive system was unsafe during those very severe traumas that I never spoke about, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I started desensitizing my body and retraining my brain that I'm safe around those events and that I'm safe around the foods and the environment. And I'll give you an example. Every time it rained, for 2 days before the rain would come, I would tell my husband or my family we're going to get rain because I got the worst asthma attack for 2 days beforehand because of the humidity that comes in before rain. And it turned out it's because one of my traumas was in Georgia and it was outside. I had woken up outside in a field. And I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but I was in this environment. So humidity became unsafe. So for almost 40 years until I desensitized to it, rain was a threat to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. You've taken that super intense experience
Yes.
and are now helping others.
Yes.
You work with high level women who look successful on the outside but are secretly exhausted, they're stuck, or out of alignment in some way. What are some signs that hidden stress patterns might be holding us back?
Wow, it's such a beautiful question because the stress patterns show up in each and every one of us so uniquely, right? For me, it was an allergic reaction. I have a client that anytime she's under any stress, her thyroid just starts going like all her like her, I don't want to get too much detail into the cellular part of the body, but basically she starts, it looks like her thyroid is failing. So she ends up back at the doctor, but it's really just her body's stress response. So as we desensitize the way her body responds to stress, that's no longer happening. For some clients, it's gut issues, right? So it'll show up as severe, it could be allergic reactions, it could just be gut inflammation, it could be mental, emotional stress, anxiety, depression. I don't want to stand up in front of those people. I remember almost every single time I have a client who every single time that she goes to sit in with her board, and she's the business owner, she's super successful, but every time she sits in with her board, she cries. And it drives her crazy. And we were able to tie it back to a situation in her life where she didn't feel safe in a crowd similar to what her situation with her board is. So once we went back and healed that side of her that was so scared, that our brains immediately put up a safety. I need to keep you safe. So for her, keeping her safe is, I don't really want to be here. And it brings her brought her back to that time in her life when things were really stressful and she was being treated poorly. And even though her current board is so positive and uplifting, it triggered every time she was with them, her brain was triggered back. So we were able to desensitize that moment in time. And now she stands like the confident, very intelligent owner, founder of her company, and can speak to her board without coming into tears, which there's nothing wrong with tears. But when there's a regular pattern like that, that is often our body reverting back to something from our past.
Yeah.
And when we look at what are some of the signs and symptoms, the key is not to see what everyone else is doing. The key is to start to learn to listen to our body and understand very uniquely how your individual body responds to stress, because we're all so different.
So what's one way in which we might be able to find that, look for that?
Yeah, so let me give you an example. If you bear with me a moment, we'll do a little exercise. And I'm going to first start by just sharing a little example for me. So for all those 34 years, before I started my own company, I would go to work and I had my three kids and I'd get home to get them home from school, and then I'd go back out to work. And then when I pulled in at night, about 50% of the time, I could not even get out of my car. So I would sleep in my car for about 15 minutes. And my husband would call me, "Where are you? I heard you pull up. I heard the garage door open." I'm like, "I can't get out. I'm going to take a nap." So I normalized that behavior. So what we want to start doing is looking at what behavior is really not very normal. What are some of the habits we're doing that is our body screaming at us to heal something or to slow down or to listen to what it's trying to tell us? And instead we've normalized it. So
Yeah.
we're going to take just a moment, and I want you to just pause and just take a moment and think, what's one behavioral pattern that I have? For me, it was pulling in at night and not literally not being able to move my body. Like it's not like I didn't want to. I could not move out of my car. What's one thing, just think about it for a moment, that you're just like, yeah, this is something I've been doing for a long time. And I feel like maybe I have, based on what she's talking to me. Maybe I've normalized it. Maybe it's not so normal after all.
I know
Can you
for
think of
me, I
something?
start to get shingles.
Okay, and that's a huge
There.
stress response.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Started the first time was when I was 26, and it just happens every few years. And then yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So your body and you, and even the way you're talking about this, and I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real, Monique, right?
Yeah, no,
You've even normalized it, right? It just happens every few years when I
I
get
know,
you know.
doctor, need the antiviral.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what we don't do is stop and go, why, what is that connection? What's happening here? What is my body trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Because it comes from somewhere. And that's the thing to know. Like basically your stress is waking up the shingles virus in your body.
Yeah.
So your body's way of handling it, my body's way was having an allergic reaction, instantly scratching and itching and my eyes burning and rubbing and all of that. And for you, it's waking up and the hypervigilance of your stress response is saying, okay, it's time to bring these shingles back. And then we get to look even deeper and say, what is it? And this is a hard one. I'm going to tell you, but what is it that shingles might actually be doing for you?
Mm.
What
Yeah.
might it be bringing to you? If you're super stressed and you get shingles, what happens in your life when you get shingles?
Especially the first time I got to stay at home and rest for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you just hear that? I got to.
Yeah.
So your body starts to relate that as a positive thing. It's
Mm.
your body, it's your brain's stress response saying, oh, I get relief when I get shingles. Oh, here we are in stress again. I have another client that wears oh gosh, what's that thing that you put on your mouth at night? I can't I'm
Like
drawing a blank on the name of it.
a mouth guard or something. I like,
No, it's when it breathes, it helps her to breathe at night. And I'm
okay.
I
Yeah.
just just blanking on the name of it. But when we tied it down, because I'm like, you don't need this. I could tell she doesn't need it. So I'm puzzled. I was puzzled by why she's so adamant about it. And it tied back to a very abusive relationship she was in that we're working on desensitization and healing. And the only time she got relief in the entire day was when she shut that off, turned that on, because she could not talk to him and he did not talk to her. So
Mm,
it became her body's safe place. And so now her body doesn't want to let go of the need for that.
yeah,
And it established this pattern of sleep apnea because that actually, in her eyes, in her brain, is keeping her safe.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Totally
This
makes
is very deep cellular level
Yeah,
messaging that our bodies give us and our brain tells us, and it's all in the subconscious
yeah.
when we go through stress.
Our bodies are so wise.
So wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us more about your six frequency framework. Why is it so important to address all six, especially for women scaling their wealth and leadership?
That's such a great question. And I want to start by saying that we often think of the mental, emotional, and physical, right? And that's a given. But when we look at healing, especially when it comes to this type of desensitization and looking at electromagnetic frequencies, everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything we say, everything we feel, our emotions are energy, our thoughts are energy. And when that's out of alignment, everything gets out of alignment. So I want you to think for just a moment about a pot of boiling water. When you get a pot, you put it on at first, and in the very beginning, there's some bubbles that just start bubbling at the bottom, right? And you just get a little like little bubbles, and those are, let's just say those are your six frequencies, which are spiritual, energetic, mental, emotional, physical, and behavioral. And those are just all the different aspects of us, right? They're not unknown, right? We all know that those are part of our life that dictate how we're feeling and what we're thinking and what we're going through in life. So when we look at that pot of water that's boiling and those bubbles down there, that's energy. So everything that's out of alignment, let's say the bubbles are something that's out of alignment, it's not just staying in one place, it's moving throughout the water. The bubbles are moving throughout. So just like the dysregulation is moving throughout your body, so it's creating a dysregulation or it's creating chaos and energetic blockages in other areas of your life as well.
Yeah.
That's why we pick up behavioral patterns from things that happened to us when we were a child. This it goes back to the safety because those bubbles have been bubbling inside you and your brain, your body are like, okay, what do we do with this? How do we fix this? And things get more and more out of alignment. And then the more we go through life, so the older we get, the more things happen to us. It bubbles, bubbles. All that's been going on inside your body
Yeah.
the whole time. And it's not until the bubbles start overflowing out of the pot that we see it. So I look at symptoms as the last resort of your body screaming
Yeah.
to say, listen to me, I've been boiling up inside, right? All this heat, all this fire that's been happening, all these things that have been going wrong or bad or hard, all the stressors, the traumas have been causing all this inner conflict. And then it shows up finally, eventually through symptoms,
Yeah.
right? Now, some, like for me, my symptoms showed up first, but that's actually usually that's not very common. So for most people, that's mentally and emotionally, and then the physical comes next. So when we look at healing, we really get to rebalance all six of those frequencies. And it starts with spirituality because we really get to believe that there's something bigger than us that makes it possible to actually heal all of this.
Yeah.
We don't think that there's something that can help us, whatever that belief is for you. If you don't have a belief that there's something bigger than you, then your symptoms will take over your body. But the moment we start believing, you know what, there's something bigger that can help me with this. I don't have to do this on my own.
Yeah.
Then we can start that healing process. And then we get to start to understand energy. And what does energy blocks mean? What does it mean? And then once we understand how energy is everything, how it impacts us, good or bad, every day, all day long, we start looking at, okay, what are words? What's the mental? What are the words we're saying to ourselves What are the things that we're saying mentally that are impacting the energy flow in our body? And when we're not speaking to ourselves kindly, or when we're pushing through, we're not listening to what our body's trying to tell us, then we start having all these, realizing that emotions are running our life, or they're running the inside bubbles of the pot of boiling water because we're ignoring them,
Yeah.
right? I can look back now, every time I pulled into that driveway, I wanted to cry because it's just been such a hard day and I've been itching and scratching and trying to get through my day. And now I've got to still go in and get homework done for 3 kids and get dinner done and all the stuff that still had to come. But instead, I took a quick nap and then pushed through. Here I go. For 10 years, when I built that business and my body became more and more
Oh,
screamed, I should say, louder and louder,
yeah.
it, I didn't listen. I just pushed it in. So many of my clients don't even know how to really feel an emotion.
Yeah.
That's theirs. We're good at feeling other people's emotions. We're good at understanding and feeling compassion for one another. But when we look at our sadness or our anger, those are just part of us. So healing really incorporates understanding and embracing that. And then you go into the physical. And then once you heal the physical and all the symptoms that we have, and I look at symptoms as this is a blessing. This is a whisper of beauty from our body. And then we get to heal all the behavioral patterns, which when we look at women, 7-figure women working hard every day, all day long, the first thing we're trying to focus on is the behavioral, right? Why do I have this behavior? I'm going to try and fix it. I'm going to take this class. I'm going to go to this mental process. I'm going to do all of this. But the reality is that's the last step because we have to look, but we get to really look back at why do we have those behaviors in the first place? And that comes from the other steps. So that's a long way around 6 frequencies, but that's why they're all so important.
So good. So this summit is about creating a seven-figure lifestyle. What does that mean to you personally, and how does healing stored stress play a role in making it possible?
Yeah, such a great question. When I look at working with my clients, and there's one that I'm thinking of in particular right now, and when she came to me, it was, I need to heal so I can get better, so I can build my business, so I can make money, right? So I can get to where I want to get to in life. So I can
Yeah.
have the things that I want to have in life. So she understood the concept that she needed to heal, but the whole process for her was to get to this place. And for me, building a 7-figure lifestyle is about healing that which is no longer serving you, letting go of everything from your past so that you can really dive into what does a 7-figure lifestyle mean to me and what is in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing and
Yeah.
what I want to really be doing joyfully, right? Not just because I want to make the money and I want to have this lifestyle, but what kind of joy and peace and calm and ease do you want in your life? And how can you create that and be the creator of your life as opposed to just doing to try to get somewhere? And that starts with going back and healing from the depth of why you're not in that alignment in the first place.
So good. My gosh, this conversation has been so rich, and we're getting towards the end of the time. But and I want you to share about the incredible gifts that you have for our participants. Can you share what they are and they help the women here?
Yes. So I created a body awareness audit, and it's a really powerful tool to help you look at those 6 frequencies and how are you really in balance or not with your frequencies?
Yeah.
When we're out of balance in one, we're often out of balance in others, and sometimes we're not. Some of them are strength, right? Like spirituality, some people are like, I got that.
Yeah.
I am all about it. I've got that down, and then everything else is falling apart. So we want to be in balance with all 6 of them. I like to call it harmony because there really isn't a balance. Balance is something we're always fighting for. But what we want to do is find a way to be in harmony with all 6 of them because that means the energy flow of our body is happening peacefully, naturally, joyfully. So this audit will allow you to really look deep at where am I with my 6 frequencies.
And that's really helpful, especially if it's not boiling over yet.
Yes. Yeah.
It's easy to tell when you're like laid out in bed or those whatever happens you're crying in front of your board or whatever it is. That's like, wait, feels off. But until it's like something dramatic, sometimes, but it's still like bubbling. And it's
Yes.
the
And
best.
I will say though, Monique, even though it seems easy to know, we normalize things. Oh, I'm now allergic to gluten or I'm now allergic to dairy. Why? We
Yeah.
don't stop and go, what is my body wanting me to know? What is out of alignment that I'm suddenly allergic to this or I suddenly have this autoimmune disease?
Good. Yeah. How about for the VIPs?
For the VIPs, I'm offering you a half an hour of my time to go over your body awareness audit. So I would love to sit down with you and just talk about it and help you to really look at where are you out of alignment and how could those blockages, that misalignment be stopping you from achieving your goals and your dreams of being for your career and being a seven figure entrepreneur. So I would love to sit down with you. Happy to answer questions and just help you really look at your life from a much deeper level and what your body is trying to tell you. Because everything in that audit is about what your body is saying to you on a regular basis.
That's so generous. So, y'all, just that alone is worth 2 times the cost of your VIP ticket. So make sure that you sign up for VIP so you can get that generous gift plus the thousands of dollars worth of other gifts that the speakers have given. Plus, you get to join us at our in-person gathering, get to connect with the other speakers and the other VIPs, and you get all the recordings. It's a no-brainer. So make sure you sign up if you haven't yet and join us there. Cindy, thank you so much
You're
for sharing
welcome.
your wisdom with us. What you're doing really is such a beautiful reminder that our bodies hold the key to sustainable
Yes.
success. And that when we release what's been silently, subconsciously weighing us down, we can expand into a whole new level of wealth, freedom, and joy. Uh,
Yes.
and I knew that my shingles was like off, but just that's like some of the questions you asked me. I'm like, yeah, I have normalized this. I'm like
Yeah.
dealt with it. So I like everyone can use this. So I think probably at some level, unless you are already fully living everything amazingly, there's probably something that could stand some tweaking.
Yes.
So if you've been watching this, you're feeling the pull to grow without grinding, to lead without leaking your energy.
I love that.
Then this might be exactly what you need. Make sure you click on the links and you get the audit and then get the session. Cindy, thank you again for helping
Very
us
welcome.
move forward towards wealth with ease.
You're
Appreciate it.
so welcome. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, it was fabulous. It was fun.
That was fun. It was a pleasure. Before you go, I want to remind you of something important. You're listening to one conversation from a much bigger collection. Right now, we're in the middle of this 20-week series where I'm sharing interviews with women who built 7, 8, and 9 figure businesses and lives that actually feel good to live. If you want every interview in the series, lifetime access to the vault, and over $4,000 in gifts that speakers like Cindy have generously given for these VIPs, you can get all of it for just $99. Yes, just $99. Just go to www.tinyurl.com/VIP7figure. This is for the woman who knows she's meant for more, but not more stress, more sacrifice, or more self abandonment. Just more alignment, more ease, more truth, more life. And if this conversation resonated with you, I promise you'll want the rest. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.